Hello and welcome back to Round the Table, slow TV radio from the meeting point, broadcasting not only to Bilbao but throughout the world. Hello again and welcome back to Round the Table from the meeting point, and we've just completed our first week of the trimester, and for me it was very successful. And what about you, Soa, with your groups? How did they go?
Very good, very good.
Lots of new people?
Yeah.
Great. Good to have some new faces in the classes and lots of old faces. Well, we shouldn't insult them by saying they've got old faces. Familiar faces, that's what we should say. Familiar faces. So, yes, we've been back in the classes, and this week we were discussing the topic of on tour, which was a suggestion from last trimester. So, at least in my groups, this is what we were doing. We were discussing all aspects of tours and how people tour. So we spent a lot of time talking about tourists, tourism in Bilbao, and how often you see people taking guided tours around Bilbao, looking at our wonderful historic buildings.
People love Bilbao. They think it's a great city.
Well, you spend a lot of time talking to tourists, don't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah. From all around.
And they've been quite impressed with the architecture?
Yeah, and the city in general. Some people come because they go to San Sebastian first, or they are going to go to San Sebastian. Mm-hmm. And they come here because it's on the way. Mm. Well, mainly the Guggenheim.
Yeah.
But they are very impressed with the city. And some of them say that, you know what, I like this better than San Sebastian.
Oh, well, yes, it's far superior.
That's what I say.
Far superior. Yes. But they originally come for the Guggenheim, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then they're sort of surprised by what else there is.
And the vibe, they really like it. Like so many people in the street. Mm. It's very, they really like it. Very, very positive.
Yeah. And one of the things we were talking about was when you live in a city that you don't really pay much attention to the architecture that's around you, because you're going past it every day. And you see, but you don't really look, and you don't really pay attention, and you take it for granted. That was one of the expressions we were using a lot. You take things for granted because you know they're always there. It's only occasionally when you're standing waiting for someone that you look up and you look around and you think, oh, look at that interesting balcony or that interesting design of window or something like that. You suddenly start to see things. But of course, if you go to another city when you are a tourist, you use your eyes in a very different way, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
And you become much more aware. Which led us on to the fact that I've got this big architecture quiz coming up, where in July I spent a lot of time walking around Bilbao
being a tourist.
I was being a tourist, yeah. I suppose everybody thinks I'm a tourist with my little rucksack on and things like that.
The camera.
Yeah, and looking a bit of a giddy. But at least the people in the market say hello to me. But no, I was going around looking at architectural features, and there's so many interesting things to look at in Bilbao if you like architecture. But you take them on tours of pinchos, don't you?
Yeah, they love that too.
Yeah.
They're not too keen on the cider.
No.
Some of them is like, oh, there must be something wrong here.
Well, it's quite acidic, your cider here.
Yeah, I think people expect something sweet.
Yeah, and I suppose if you've been going to different bars and drinking, chacolis and red wines and things like that, the cider is quite a contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is very acidic. Yeah. It would be a bit of a surprise. I don't think that kind of cider is very common in other places. It's usually a bit sweeter.
Yeah. But, well, I think it's interesting that they try it, though.
Yeah, and there can't be many places where you could do that kind of tour.
So we have, because on Santo Tomás, the 21st of December here, and in the Arenal.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's got talos con chistorra and cider is a big thing on that day.
Yeah.
So that's what I give them. I say, well, like...
I remember in a few years ago hearing that in Oviedo or somewhere like that, they were trying to stop people drinking cider in the streets because it was corroding the pavement or something.
I believe that.
It was eating the stones. That's quite corrosive stuff. Yeah, it can't be good for your stomach lining. They must have ulcers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so tours was the thing we were talking about, and we were talking tourism and going on tours around town. We would spend a lot of time talking about cycling with Le Tour and why people like watching that on TV and having siestas. And we were talking musical tours as well, of bands on tour and what it would be like, and all of the organisation, the coordination and the logistics of moving a big band because we were saying if you go back to like the 1920s when these jazz bands went, they just put their trumpet in the case and got the bus to the next location. Be quite easy. But now you've got lorries full of lights and those big TV screens, and everything has to be set up. And apparently they have when they're doing a big concert in one place, they have a complete other team that is going on to the next location to start preparing like days in advance, because there's so much stuff to set up. That's a good phrasal verb, to set up for the show. But they need 2 or 3 lots of equipment because it takes so long to plan everything. Anyway, we've got a little bit of vocabulary here. An interesting word is entourage. Entourage. It's got the word tour in the middle. And of course it sounds very French. Entourage. It's got that age at the end rather than a ige. If it were a proper Anglo-Saxon sounding word, we normally change these age to ige. But this is entourage. So that is the group of people that would go with someone very important. So in the old days, it would be when royalty went travelling. And they would take hundreds of people with them. But now you might use it if, say, you were talking about Madonna or Lady Gaga. They would go with a huge entourage,
I see. So it's a group of people then,
They'd go with their personal hairstylist, makeup artist, someone in charge of all the costumes, someone in charge
maybe
of
food as well.
Food and hotels, and they'd have a huge entourage of people that travel with them to look after them.
Interesting.
And a similar thing, but this is more negative, are the hangers-on. Coming from a phrasal verb to hang on, but these are called hangers-on of the people. But that's more negative. It's like if you're famous and there's lots of people that want to be with you, and they might not even know them or like them, but everybody wants to be your friend. So we were saying that in the past there were some musicians and singers who made a lot of money, but they lost it all because they had so many hangers-on who were sort of spending their money for them, who were just there for the party and the glamour, but they weren't really contributing anything. So they're more like parasites. Several episodes ago, we were talking about bickies instead of biscuits and brollies. Instead of saying umbrella, we like to say brolly, and then we had a whole list of those interesting things where we do part of the word and then add the E on the end. So you have chocky bickies and your Christmas prezzies and things like that instead of presents. And the road crew, when you're on the road, meaning on tour, you have a road crew, which are sort of lighting engineers and all those people. Well, the lighting engineers and the sound engineers might be more qualified, but the people that are just moving things for you, they're called roadies. So it comes from the road crew. They got known as the roadies. So usually when you're a band on tour, you need a lot of people to move all the big speakers and things like that. but they're not as technical as sound engineers and people like that. Yeah, they're a bit more physical. They're the sort of labour that travels with the band. So that's just a little bit of vocabulary connected to on tour. Another little bit of vocabulary here was this word discover. Now somebody sent me an article in Spanish about the Campo de los Ingleses, and apparently there's a plaque on the floor describing writing about the history. And the mayor of the town, the mayor as it's pronounced, well, in
discover.
The Spanish word was descubrir. How do you say descubrir?
Descubrir.
Very good. He was using that. It had that word, and I was translating it in my head, thinking, well, he discovered this plaque on the floor, and I thought, discovered it? That doesn't make much sense in English, because if he discovered it, he wouldn't know it was there. He's like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
So then I thought, well, it wouldn't be discover, because you discover a scientific principle, or you would discover a new country in those days of explorers. I put that in little commas. But then I thought, oh, okay, uncover.
A treasure you can discover.
Yeah, you can discover treasure, yes. But then I thought uncover. And then I thought, no, that doesn't sound right either. So uncover isn't right, because uncover is normally used for something that's been deliberately hidden like a secret. So the police, after their investigations, they might uncover a plot or a terrorist plan or a network of drug dealers or something like that. So you use uncover for finding secret criminal organisations, that kind of thing. So then I thought the word must be unveil. Unveil. So the veil is what goes over, covers your face.
Yeah.
Covers a woman's face, let's be honest. Men don't need to wear veils, but if you get married, you might have a veil. Or if you are of certain religions, you have a veil to cover your face. Anyway, to unveil is to make something public, like when they unveil a plaque, a commemorative plaque on the wall or something like that. Sometimes the king might go and pull a little string and open the curtains, and there's a little sign saying this new hospital, etc. Or it could be if you have like a car company and they make the new model car and it's the first time it's shown to the public in a big exposition or something like that, then they unveil it and say, here is our new car for this year. So that's unveil. And then I thought of some other things of revealing, like when something comes to light. There's an interesting phrase. Something comes to light.
It's been in the dark.
It's been in the dark, yeah. So it's something that we didn't know existed. It came to light. So it's sort of when you find something by accident that you didn't know was hidden, just didn't know it existed.
Oh, isn't it what journalists do when they are investigating some politicians and everything comes to light?
Everything would come to light, but it wouldn't necessarily be through the investigation, because they're not looking for it because they didn't know it was there. They could be investigating something else and then they find another aspect by accident during the investigation. But if it comes to light, it's a little bit more accidental, I think.
Okay.
And then there's a couple more here that I know someone listening will really like these phrases. Spill the beans.
Where does that come from then?
I read recently where spill the beans comes from. It's an American thing. There are various theories about spilling the beans. I'll tell you what it means first. It's to give the information, usually under pressure. So when you're being interrogated by a policeman and he's shining the light in your face, going, come on, spill the beans, give me the information. The theory is that in ancient times, going back to Greek or Roman times, and they voted by putting white and black beans in a bag, and then when they tipped the beans out to show what the result of the voting was, that was spilling the beans.
Okay.
But apparently there's no record of them ever using this bean counting method in those days. So I don't think they really know, but there's a couple of theories about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And another one is to let the cat out of the bag.
You had a cartoon with that, didn't you?
I did a cartoon. I'll see if I can find it. I'll put it up. Yes, to let the cat out of the bag. And that is more accidental. It's not under pressure. Spill the beans is under pressure. Let the cat out of the bag is accidentally revealing...
When you say, uy, se me ha escapado.
Yeah. When you say, oh, I'm really looking forward to your birthday party. Oh, you didn't know, sorry. If it's you accidentally reveal the secret, is to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting phrases, yeah. Just stuff that came up in conversation this week. And now I think we should look at these phrasal verbs. Here's a few phrasal verbs that came up in conversation this week, and they were all about starting, beginning things. So let's look at these. They're all quite similar. So the first one on the list is a familiar pair of check in and check out. And where would you check in and check out?
In a hotel?
In a hotel is correct. You check in at the hotel, and then when you leave, you check out. But where would you only check in and not check out?
Airport?
Airports is correct. You check in at the airport, and then from the phrasal verb to check in, it became the noun, the check-in.
Yeah.
You go to the check-in, or sometimes it can be a compound noun. You would say the check-in desk.
Yeah.
So from the phrasal verb, you then make the noun.
It's funny, we say it now in English, we say, voy a hacer el check-in.
Oh, yeah. Well, lots of these, lots of these influences. Again, it came up in conversation on Thursday. We were talking about words that jump from one language to another, and usually if there's a sort of technology or something, we quite often take the language that's available. That it's the same as all the different types of pasta and things like that. We always use all the Italian words, because if you translated pasta into English, you'd be eating little worms and strings and things like that.
Not to know.
Yeah, and there's one called ears, isn't there? They're not called ears here, but the Italian word is like little ears or something like that. They would sound terrible if you translated them into English, so we just use the Italian words. So there's lots of things to do with sport. That's right, we were talking about why you have a corner in football.
Okay. Yeah.
And you've already got a word for corner, but you don't use esquina when you're playing football. You use corner. And it's in Basque as well, isn't it?
Cornerac.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, cornerac. Yeah, that's the only thing I understand when they're doing the commentary in Basque. Anyway, so check in, check out, and of course check out as a noun. The checkout is in the supermarket.
Oh, yeah.
Where you pay.
Yeah.
But we never use that as a phrasal verb. We only use it as the noun form, the checkout. Right, another one. We've got a few now with sign. So sign up. If you sign up.
For a course, for example.
You do, yes. So you enroll for a course. You would sign up for your English courses. You can also sign up for the military. But then we translate that as enlist. So enroll is join a course, but enlist is join the army. But sign up would be used for both. Then sign on. You've probably never heard sign on, because I've always been such a hard-working person. But when you're unemployed, you sign on. Because you have to go to this office every 2 weeks and you sign a piece of paper to say that I haven't done any work for the last 2 weeks since the last time I signed on. So you sign on for unemployment benefit.
I
So
see.
if you're talking about someone and you say, is he working? And somebody says, no, he's signing on. It means he's unemployed.
Okay.
Then we had sign in. Sign in. If you went to, say you had to visit a company and you had to go through some sort of security, you might have to show your ID, but there might be a piece of paper where you have to write your name and who you're visiting and what time you arrive or something like that. So you'd have to sign in. There might be some organisations that require your signature on a piece of paper to get you in there. Oh yes, and that's a point. When I say signature, you hear the G. But in sign, when I say sign, S-I-G-N, you don't hear the G. But you do in signal and signature, you hear the G. Don't ask me to explain why that happens, but that's one of those things. You could also possibly sign in when you go onto the computer. If you have to put in a password, I'd probably use login or log on, but I suppose you could sign in on there. But now we tend to use login, log on when we're starting up the computer. And then the final one was clock in.
Is that at work?
Yeah.
Office,
It's especially if you work in a factory where you have to do a certain amount of hours. And they used to have a little card and you put it in, there was a clock, and you put the card in and it would stamp what time you arrived. And then you'd clock in or clock on, and then when you left you'd clock out or clock off, and you put the little card in again. So then your employer could look and see exactly how many hours you'd done each day. So that's all phrasal verbs to do with sort of arriving and beginning things. So that was
interesting.
Yeah, quite good that. United Kingdom. We always say United Kingdom, yeah? Which is okay now because there's a king. And we are quite united, I suppose. More or less united.
Well,
no,
someone might say that, but...
Well, yeah, in the modern times, we're not that united, really, are we? Oh dear, this is very divisive. But that wasn't the question, that wasn't the word. I was questioning whether we're united or not. But kingdom, now we have a king, yeah?
But you've always had a king.
Well, not a couple of years ago, there was a queen.
Ah, okay.
The Queen was there for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah? In fact, for all the Victorian age, we had 70 years of Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
But it's always been a kingdom.
Oh, well.
Why is there no word queendom?
Yeah.
There should be. How can you have a queen of a kingdom?
And how many... Yeah, you had lots of queens.
And the queens always seem to last a lot longer than the kings. They have long reigns. They do. Yeah, kings don't last very long, but queens last a long time. So why is it always been a United Kingdom? That was just something strange that occurred to me recently, and we should have another word, queendom, but that doesn't exist. So why do we say that? So that's all we have time for this week. Well, it's not all we have time for. We've got lots of time. That's all we can think of to talk about this week. We could have done pronunciation problems, but I realised the main pronunciation this week was your, jaw, use, juice, but you'll have to go back and find that. That's in a previous episode. But that's been problematic this week. So we won't be doing any pronunciation or typical errors this week because, of course, they've all been the same as usual. But next week, we're talking advice. And in the book, there are 2 pages of quotations. And then there is a very interesting reading, which comes from a record from the 1990s. And it's in the form of a graduation speech. So that is advice from an older person to young people leaving a university.
Okay.
I say it's in the form of a graduation speech because that's what I always thought it was. But apparently it wasn't. It was just written for a newspaper article. But it's very interesting reading. Anyway, so if anybody wants to read that, that'll be very useful for the discussions for next week. All on advice. Well, hope you enjoyed that podcast. And we'll be back next week. So, have a good week. Till next week. Bye.
Bye.